Alhamdulillah, wa rabbil alameen. Assalatu salam ala rasulillah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Halim wa salim bikum. Salamu alaikum, rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Our dear brothers and sisters, I give you my salam from the beautiful African country called Morocco. And I kind of did this at the last minute, as you can see. Probably many of you are in the West are still sleeping or going on to work. Oh no, today's a holiday. I forgot. I just read that. And I was taken back by a series of events inside the United States that to me was very disturbing. I saw a Al Jazeera English commentary on white supremacy and the church, and that the cities around the United States are granting permits for churches, white church only, meaning no blacks, no Hispanics, no Asians, no Polynesians, no melanated people at all. And this trend is growing. As a Muslim, I must talk about injustices and also about discrimination against another human being because of race and color. And this is what we've had. We've had this in the United States for 400 to 500 years. It has not stopped. And the beacon of white supremacy has always been the church. It's always been the white church. And our brothers and sisters, I'm kind of focusing on them today among the Christians and somewhat of the Jews, the Hebrews, who still follow this misguidance. And it is misguidance, my brothers and sisters. As Malcolm said, you've been bamboozled, and you continue to be bamboozled. You still go and put up churches to honor these people, these Toubabs, who hate you, who legislate against you, who discriminate against you, who kill you outright. And now here we're supposed to be moving into an area now of the United States where we're supposed to be inclusive. Inclusive to whom? The Toubab American is not inclusive. He's exclusive, and he continues to be exclusive. And the government backs his play, even for murder. Yes, they gave a couple of sentences to some white supremacists there at the Capitol in January the 6th when they erupted. But if you notice something, it was one misguided black man who was not involved in it per se, but he had a hand in it, even though he was not standing there. And the black judge gave him the more time than the other ones who did the damage. And so even our President Biden said against that white racism, supremacy is a form of terrorism, but they still have not legislated against it. And so when I saw this program, it really bothered me, because it bothered me to say to my brothers and sisters who are Christians, why are you following this? They're not following the example of the prophet Jesus, or Jesu, and we know him as Isa in Islam, alayhi salatu salam. So you're not following that. You're following what they have ordained. And even many of the white theologians agree that the Christianity as practiced today is not the Christianity that Jesus, Jesu, set forth, or the Sumerians. The Sumerians had the last of the authentic books, and they were assassinated and killed. And John the Baptist's book, alayhi salatu wasalam, has disappeared. No one knows what happened to it. If it was buried or if it was burned, no one knows. But the Eurocentric Christianity has a bloody history. In order to propagate their form of religion, they had to kill, and they did. They killed from the 3rd century on to still to this day. So they've killed almost 1,600 to 1,700 years. They've been killing to keep this Eurocentric Christianity. So they, my brothers and sisters, who are Christians in particular, How? I mean, when you go to church and you see the misrepresentation of Jesu, alayhi salatu salam, and you come in, you go to the New Testament, which is flawed, and you follow that. You go to the conferences where the Toubab is there. He don't want you there. And all of the scholars and even media personnel had said that the church, the white church, is the beacon of white supremacy. So why are you going there? And why are you building churches to mimic their churches and mimic their religion? It's their religion. It's Eurocentric. It has nothing to do with Christianity. It has nothing to do with it. They take some slogans here, slogans there, but it's the worship and the honoring of the Toubab. And so I got some things down here that I want to discuss and to talk about. And those who may look at this in the future, because it's early there in the West, it's a holiday. I don't know what you're going to be doing on this Veterans Day. But my brothers and sisters, I mean, enough is enough. The miseducation of the Black man is continuous, and we don't want to see it. We still are so misguided that we're following their footsteps, and it's going to lead you to the fire. Jesus did not say to follow the Toubab. He did not say, he said you follow him and his way. So why are you following the Toubab? The Toubab does not follow his way. He follows his Eurocentric way. So why are you following his way? And now they're even out in the open around the United States. Minnesota just opened up some new white, quote unquote, white churches where only whites are available. I mean, who are eligible to go there. Only whites. Okay, the Toubab is the only one eligible. They're popping up everywhere across the United States. And our Black folks are saying we are overcome. You're not going to overcome nothing. They're even getting more racist against you. They're even telling you in your face, we don't want you in that church. They're even telling you you have to worship who they consider God. And it's a white man with blonde hair and blue eyes. Isa alayhi salam, Jesu, the names you want to call him. Isa, we know him in Islam as that subhanahu wa ta'ala called him Isa. We know him as that. He did not preach this type of separation. He didn't preach this type of superiority of white race over the Black race. Where did that come from? It come from them. And it's really sad, my brothers and sisters. It's very sad when you think of it on a nutshell. You're there in the United States after 400, 500 years, you're still following a dead religion that gets you in trouble. It's in contradiction to the Old Testament that you're supposed to be following. You are ordained to follow the Old Testament. Our forefathers who became Christians had named their children by what? The prophets of old in the Old Testament. And then suddenly they got away from it. As the misguidance become even stronger, they got away from that and they began to name their children after who? The British, the Irish, the Welsh, and the French. They forgot about the African Asiatic language of Hebrew that was essentially, was spoken, and Aramaic also was spoken, which is offshoot of that. And you had names of that, which was correct. Samuel is Solomon. These names are correct. There's nothing wrong. This is not Eurocentric. These are Black folk names. They are Afro-Asiatic names. There's nothing wrong with that to name your son Samuel after the prophet or Solomon, alayhi salatu wasalam. There's nothing wrong with that. But you went to go name him Robert. You've been going Bill. You've been going to follow after them in the New Testament. They told you now you can eat pork, which is a grave sin and under the Sharia of the Torah. I know that. I've studied it. It's a grave sin. It's a grave sin to eat pork in the Sharia, meaning the law of the Torah. You cannot do it. But you follow them. Drink. You can drink as much as you want. You can even fornicate. And it's no problem, even though the Torah and the Sharia of the Torah is against that. You know what the punishments are for people who do this. So yet you continue to follow the Toubab, and he's leading you astray. And when I saw this today, I saw this they deliberately picked certain types of Toubab women. Some of these women were tall, angular, like kind of beautiful, and here they are, and they were white racist. Okay, bottom line. And here they were at their church and so forth. Now there's articles all through Google talking about this issue, and it's hardcore racism. Hardcore racism. You as a black man and your family cannot drive down in many areas, even in California, and go to their churches. I know that for a fact when I was a so-called misguided Christian, even though I was against it. Salam alaikum, my dear sister Amina. Even though I had my doubts, I was starting to have my doubts. I went to a church and the church was 99.9% white. I was not welcome to it. And another black man was there before me. They ran him out. And essentially they ran me out the same way. So this problem has been going on for a long time. And so you're going to have to wake up, my brothers and sisters. This is not your religion. And you say you would, no, yeah, you're a little strong here. I disagree with you. Let me ask you something. We came on the same slave ships. When the brothers and the sisters were taken, were they worshiping this misguidance? No, they were either they were juju, they were voodoo, and they were some parts of Central. They were Orissa. There were other types of traditional African religions, and Islam also. We know now between 50 to 60% of the slaves taken were Muslims, especially after the 1800s, because the colonial powers was fighting the last remaining stronghold of West Africa in particular, which was the Muslim empires. So we know that for a fact, and they were taking them as slaves. So we know this for a fact. Yet they came to the United States and they were given this brand of miseducation of the black man called Eurocentric Christianity, and you followed it. You died for it. You killed for it. You worship it. You don it inside your house. You swear by it. All of these things here that you're doing, and it's misguidance, my brothers and sisters. It is misguidance. It is. You know, I look at this and I have to say this as your brother, because we know that we have two sisters in Islam. We know that. We have the Christian and we have the Jews. We know that. The Judaism and Christianity, we are very similar in many, many aspects. So, but what you are practicing has nothing to do with that, my brothers and sisters. You don't. You may think that because you go to a black church and you see the pastor or the bishop or whatever you want to call him, dressed up in a $4,000 suit, driving in a big old hog that guzzles up gas and so forth, and you think you're following the right way, and you up there singing and dancing and still like you did back in the plantation, and you think that is salvation. Is not. Jesus, alayhi salatu wasalam, did not dance in the synagogue. He did not have all this hollering and screaming and people falling out, crying and stuff like that. He did not don a white man or Toubab in the synagogue. You go look it up. He did not do it. So why are you doing it? If you say you follow Isa alayhi salatu wasalam, then why don't you follow the way you looked up and researched that? Isa alayhi salatu wasalam even made ablution before he went inside the synagogue. He removed his shoes before he went inside the synagogue. He did not go and put pictures on the wall of a Toubab. He did not do that. He didn't go and worship the Toubab. He never did anything like that. Why are you doing it? So where is this misguidance, this miseducation coming from? It's coming from your own mind. It's coming from your heart, and it's coming from the devil. The devil's educating you to do this, to follow his people. And most of the Toubabs, you know what they are, especially what my brother says. Let's look at it this way. When the ex-president Trump took over, you know, this was the first sign that the Dajjal, as we know him in Islam, you call it Antichrist. But we have some differences of opinion about this, and I go by what our prophet alayhi salatu wasalam has said about him. But we know that he is going to be the main killer of mankind. We know him to be this. We know this. Subhanahu wa ta'ala told our prophet how this man was going to be. We know that the precursors to him will be arriving. Trump, I believe, is one of them. With his reign inside the presidency, he brought the country to a brink of war and other things. And inside of it was genocidal killings. And now out of the woodwork, we have all the devilish the most wicked people coming together. We have people coming out of the closet now. Now racism, which was kind of being put under the wraps, undercover, and now it's out and open again because of him. And now these white churches are being placed, are being legislated all over the place in the United States. How much more, my brothers and sisters, are you going to take over there? And you're going to continue to follow this misguidance. This is miseducation. Please, my brothers and sisters who are Christians, and some of you who are Hebrews who follow this misguidance, you go and look this stuff up. Stop following this. It's not your religion. When you came on the slave ships, your ancestors, they didn't have this misguidance. They didn't worship this. So why are you worshiping that? You stop following this Toubab and his religion. That's his religion. Let him follow it in his language and everything. And let me tell you something else. You say, yeah, you're being harsh. Yes, I'm being harsh. My brothers and sisters who are quote unquote Christians, why don't you pick up the African Asiatic language of Hebrew? Learn the Hebrew text. You'll find the translations in Hebrew are correct. But that when it's been changed to English, they have butchered it. They have butchered it. We have some sisters. I know. I remember. I can't remember her name now. I read her book, and plus I saw her on YouTube. You can look her up. She mastered the Hebrew language, and she talked about how the Christianity, the Eurocentric Christianity, how they changed the Bible, and the Hebrew gives you the correct version. One that I really was struck about what she said was the Songs of Solomon. There he says, "O ye daughters of Israel, I'm comely but black." The new versions by these people, which is 140, they got dark. He's this, he's that. They don't say black. They eliminated that. And then they put a curse on him. And on top of that, she said there was no curse in the scriptures, but the whites, the Toubab, orchestrated that. They put a curse in it, talking about, he said now he's ashamed, not ashamed, but he said that he got black because of he worked in the vineyards. The people in that era were black because Tacitus and Herodias wrote about this era and what the people were, and they were black. He wrote, these are European historians, famous European historians. They wrote this. I didn't write it. They talked about the area all the way from present-day Iran all the way to Habasha, as we know in Arabic as Ethiopia, were black people. That's right. 440 BC, Herodias was there. He described them. He had no other name to call the black folks. So he called them what? Ethiop, meaning burnt by the sun. That's how we come up with the name Ethiopia. They were not white. He described them to a T. Wide nose, thick lip, kinky hair, black skin, muscular build. He described the ancient Egyptians. He described them all the way. Then he says that the farther north they become, he said they became a little bit more lighter and their hair became more wavy and curly. That's what he wrote. This is what Herodias wrote. That's right, my brothers and sisters. You look it up. This is something that you should follow and look it up and find out. When I began to find out the truth about Christianity, I left it because I know this is not Christianity. I was not following Isa alayhi salam. I was following the Toubab. Now, let me go into some of this and some of the ideas. And for the brothers and sisters who see this, my sister Amina said the brothers in America should wake up and be free. That's right, because this Christianity has got you bounded down. I got friends, I love them dearly in Compton and other places. I've been knowing them for many, many decades, but they're misguided by following this stuff. They think that they're on their way to the promised land because they followed the Toubab and his religion. You are not. It's misguidance. You need to follow what Isa. You said you follow Isa. You follow him correctly. And if you look at one thing in particular, my brothers and sisters, that will educate you. This is the Lord's Prayer. This is a call to Tawheed. Remember when the people, the followers of Jesus, alayhi salatu salam, asked, how do we pray? He gave this beautiful prayer, and it's Tawheed. Tawheed, not the Trinity over the white man. He gave this, he told you worship subhanahu wa ta'ala. He gave this beautiful, beautiful prayer that you can, and it's Tawheed, because Jesus, alayhi salatu was a Muslim, meaning he oneness of God, of Allah, Jehovah, whatever name you want to call him. So he is the correct prophet, yes. But we also know, if you look at the scriptures, there's mention, if I'm not mistaken, because I haven't looked at the Bible much in many, many years. I couldn't stand it anymore by looking at it because it's flawed. In there's a mention of the new prophet Ahmed. Ahmed is a name for Muhammad, and they talked about that. And even the scholars of the Jews and the Christian scholars said that the new prophet, that the Christians must follow this new prophet. The Jewish scholars said, new prophet, which was Muhammad, alayhi salatu wasalam, you must follow him. But neither are doing it. That's right. Neither are doing it. Now, let me go into some of the things here, and I'm going to give you some points, some things for you to think about, my brothers and sisters, okay? This is coming from me. When I pray and I ask subhanahu wa ta'ala to give me guidance and hikmah, a wisdom, so I can talk to my brothers and sisters in the United States. And so I start to think, I said, okay, let me do this. Let me start writing. When I saw this, it was upsetting to me. I couldn't stand it no more. White-only churches are a affront to the black man and his family. My brothers and sisters, if you consider that, if you look at that and you don't think nothing about it, you think there's nothing wrong with that. It's something wrong with you. The white churches are a affront to the black man and his family. That's right. One, it affirms and strengthens its role in the miseducation of the black man. If anyone tells me that these white churches full of racism, full of supremacy and misguidance, okay, and devilish worshiping is not misguiding you, you're wrong. You are misguided. Secondly, it affirms and reaffirms the Toubab's concept of religion and their superiority. The white Eurocentric Christianity confirms this and reaffirms the Toubab's hold over the country, hold over your mind, hold over your ability to think, over your religious faculties. This is basically destroying you. It's destroyed you. When you left the Old Testament to follow this Toubab, you begin to eat pork and you begin to eat like him, and it's destroyed your health, my brothers and sisters. You went away from the Torah. You shouldn't have done that. You should have kept on with the Torah. You should have kept the names of the Old Testament because they were black folks. Those prophets, alayhi salatu salam jami'an, all of them were good people. They were strong prophets. Subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about them in the Quran. We must honor them and make no distinction among them. This is true. Now, number three, it's designed to scare and perpetrate that the Toubab racism is alive and well. Yes, we still many of us today, we're scared, and we see the concept and their perpetration of their racism. It is out in the open and it's alive and well, and they want to let you know it's not going away. Salam alaikum, my brother King Kenyada. Salam alaikum. And this is a true fact. This is a true fact. Again, it affirms and reaffirms the Toubab's concept of religion and their superiority. This is what the white churches are doing. This is what they're advocating. This is what they show, and you are following this. Number four, the Eurocentric Christianity that is peddled, that's right, peddled in the United States, borrowed heavily from the slave era. It did, my brothers and sisters. If you think it didn't, it did. I'll tell you the remnants of it. The first police came from what? The slave catchers. Many of the laws to hurt you, to hunt you down, to kill you, to enslave you, to keep you behind the 8 ball, and all that came from the slave era. In order for the Toubab to continue to work on your mind, he created this religion, and it's revolving every single day. That's why it's 140 different versions of the Bible, because they keep recreating it to make sure that they stay in power and they stay and mess with your mind. And so you continue your miseducation as a black man. The Eurocentric Christianity that is peddled in the United States borrowed heavily from the slave era. This is true. This is true, my brothers and sisters. This is very true. It was backed up by who? It's backed up by the government. It was backed up by the slave owners, and it's backed up by the society in itself. They backed it, codified it. They affirmed it and reaffirmed it every single day on the black man and his family, for still to this day, almost 500 years later. Now, number 5, these churches and members and their clergy ignore historical evidence that Jesu was not a Toubab. They ignore it, the majority of them, but the real good scholars of Christianity, they admit that Jesu was a black man. They admit that. Why? Because if you go to Italy, you see coins that were minted by Justine. One side was Jesus alayhi salatu wasalam with cornrows. Yes, sir, Reed, this is true. With cornrows, okay? A black man. And the other side was Justine. That's right. You look at the pictures all through that was written before 1507 when Michelangelo made these pictures, he was depicted as a black man. That's right. If you go to you go to the caves of Turin in Italy, they still have it because it's been protected. You go inside there, you see the first Christians who came back there. What did they do? They drew the depiction of who? Isa alayhi salatu wasalam, Jesu alayhi salatu wasalam, as a black man. That's right, my brothers and sisters. Do your research. Do your research. He was described as a black man and they painted him as such. That's right. Now, 1507 came. What happened? 1507, now racism now started. This white man's burden, the racism, white supremacy began to take hold now. They come out of the dark ages. Talking about the Toubab in Europe. They came out of the dark ages. So they decided now it's time to do their thing. They said, hey, man, we're going to take all this, the Isa alayhi salatu wasalam, as we know him as a black man. No. You paint him as white. This is when we begin to worship him and our beloved Miriam, that we know him in Islam, know her as Islam as a white woman and a white child. This is where the genesis of that, and you still worship that today, my brothers and sisters who are Christians and Hebrews. Shame on you. Shame on you. Now the evidence is there. And with this event now it's happening now, you do your research. It's all over the news. White church only. They're popping up everywhere. And all the cities are giving them permission to do it. When we as the Muslims try to put up a masjid somewhere, we fight, we applaud. We have to go to court in order to do it. You, black man, when you try to put up a church in many places, even though you're following with their footsteps, they make it very difficult for you to do it. It's difficult to get loans, construction loans, and so forth and so on. It's very difficult. But them, no, they don't have that problem. And now this white church only. And I bet you some of my brothers and sisters who are Christians and Jews, you probably just turn to them and say, okay, we know how they are. And you continue to follow their footsteps. Again, number 5, these churches and members and their clergy ignored the historical evidence that Jesu, alayhi salatu wasalam, was not a Toubab. By promoting a white Jesu in order to entice and keep black folk from religious freedom. When you know that your slave master, you know that roving racist Toubab cop, the racist banker, the racist professor and school teachers and all the infrastructure, when he's racist against you, he prejudiced against you, he hurt you, you thought you were American, and he wants to show you that you are not. And they use this as a way to keep you down. So you cannot worship freely because you have to worship what they tell you. So you're still a slave because you worship them and you worship their religion. You still are a slave. You're not free. If you were free, you will pick up the evidence and you go do your research. You will pick up the language of Hebrew and you go to look and see what it says in Hebrew. You'll be shocked. Some brothers and sisters who have begun to learn Hebrew, they fell out of their seats when they begin to see that these Toubab, how they have butchered the Bible and how they changed the wording around tremendously. In Hebrew, they did not, because Hebrew is distinct, because it's a form of Arabic. And so Subhanahu wa ta'ala granted this type because why? He ordained the Torah. Make no mistakes about it. Whoever says a Muslim say he did not is not a Muslim. He ordained it because he tells you in the Quran, he ordained the Torah because it's his law to tell you your guidance, how to live in this life as a Jew, okay? Or as a sanctified person. This is what this is for here, to promote something of a white Jesus, to promote and put in your head to entice you and keep black folk from religious freedom. You can't sway any other place except this way. When I come and get on you, you run straight back to the Eurocentric Christian. Oh, this is what it says here. This is what it says here. You're not free, my brothers and sisters who worship this. You're not free. You're not free. Now, let's get down and dirty even more to show how the system is designed, you brothers, to keep you down. The Klan. Every African born in America know what the Klan is, okay? We know who the Klan and the genocidal racist religious doctrine. These punks, these thugs, these mujrimin, we know them in Arabic as, and under the Quran, these misfits and miscreants, these Ku Klux Klan people have been killing us for about 200 years now. Yeah, we're on there about 200 years. They follow this. And you go to the same churches as these Klansmen, and you call him your brother, and he call you monkey. And the Klan backs this stuff. Let's look at this. The Klan and the genocidal racist religious doctrine to promote Toubab Christianity, not the religion of Jesus, alayhi salatu wasalam, not the religion of all the prophets, Samuel, Solomon, alayhi salatu wasalam, Jamian, all the beautiful prophets, we know them. That's talked about in the Old Testament. They just say that's what they're not following. They're following something else to promote a Toubab Christianity in order to continue to subjugate the black man, because that's their focus. And you say, yeah, I don't understand why they focus on me. Because remember, I told you in earlier programs, there's only one man on this face of earth can breed him out of existence. It's the black man. That's right. Our genetics is very strong. We can breed them out. They know that. Nobody else can do that, but we can. They know this. We are a mortal enemy to them because we can take their existence away by mating with their women and continue to mate with their women. There'll be no more quote unquote Toubab that we understand they were blonde hair and blue eyes walking around and so forth and so on. It'd be over. They know that you're a mortal enemy to them, my brothers and sisters. That's why they fight you the way they do. Secondly, the Klan's doctrine and the religious doctrine of the white genocidal racists to emphasize the continued miseducation of the black man by attacking his religious beliefs. Brothers and sisters, tell me if that's not true. The minute you try to go away from them, they go to you and say, hey, you can't be Muslim. Don't go. No, you can't be Hebrew. No. This is wrong. This is misguided. You want to go to heaven, you got to continue to follow your way here, and you follow our path. And it works. The minute the brothers begin to move away, we have Uncle Tom down the river Negroes and house Negroes bring them back. Tell me, no, dude, you can't go away from old Master Jim. Old Master Jim is good. He's a good old master. Oh yeah, he love you. You follow what he tell you. Don't go over here with Yahya and all these Negroes over here. You follow Master Jim. He know what he's talking about. Yeah, he's a Klansman, but he's okay. He put a butter biscuit and victuals on my table. This is what we got these Uncle Tom saying this to follow behind the Klans people, and this Klansman come back behind you and lynch your brothers. You say nothing. Now, number 3, the Klans and the genocidal racist religious doctrine. Number 3, to strike fear in those of us that dare to question their brand of Christianity by using police and the administration of justice against us. Brothers and sisters, the Klan has been functioning for hundreds of years. No one has ever disbanded them. There's no laws to stop them. They can go and burn crosses every day they want. They can legislate. They can do things out in the open. Nobody stops and arrests them. They can talk about killing on YouTube. Nobody stops them. They get on the phone, and even the FBI and Homeland Security hear what they're talking about, killing black folk. They don't do nothing. But you, on the other hand, black man, you say this, they come and get you. Not only they get you, they take your wife and your children and all your kinfolk and the brothers and sisters in the neighborhood, because now they got a reason, a probable cause now to start arresting black folk. Them, they don't touch them until after they make the crime. And when they make a crime, they only arrest the ones who perpetrated it, but not the whole cell of the Klan. They leave them alone because why? Many of them are members of that, and even the judges, they secretly fund this. We know this. Now, number 4, affirming and reaffirming that the U.S. is theirs. The Ku Klux Klan and the genocidal racist religious doctrine, Eurocentric Christianity, is telling you, black man, affirming and reaffirming that the U.S. is theirs and not ours. And they will claw and fight to keep it that way, brothers and sisters. Boy, this is a fact. You see what they're doing now, all the legislation? They're doing crazy things to keep in power. Because why? As I told you before, you researched this. The white woman is down to 0 birth rate. She's not having children. We're having 4 to 5 kids. The Mexicans and our brothers, the Mexicans and Dominicans, and so they're having many kids. Our brothers, Samoans and Tongans and Hawaiians, they have many kids. The Arabs, all of us, the melanated people, having many kids. They're not. They're at 0 birth rate. And we're slowly darkening, blackening the country. They know this. And that's why they're fighting to keep this away. So be careful, my brothers and sisters, with this, because this is a sinking ship. This is a sinking ship. Be very careful. And you hear my words today. Go back, play the tape again, and listen to what I'm saying. Because I'm going to be accused by other African Americans born in America of being a black racist against the Toubab. I'm not. I'm telling you the truth. I'm giving you these things here so you can think about, because I got to talk against them. I'm a Muslim. We see injustice. We must talk. I don't care if it's other Arabs or other black. I just went after the black folk the other day, right? Remember, I just went after them. Anything that's not right and outside of subhanahu wa ta'ala, I must talk. I don't care if the brother's a black man or what. I talked against the gangsters. Their ancestors came on the same ships, but I talked against them. So why I can only talk against the black folk, but the white folk, I must leave them alone. No, They are deserving of it because they have killed us. Every one of my generations of my family, I've been doing research. What they have done to them is an atrocity. And I explained it many times. I won't get into that today, but it's an atrocity. And most of black folks, if you do the research, you'll find what happened all the way from my ancestors. Great aunts who were doing well on the farm walked out from the farm, and Toubabs came up and shot him dead because they were jealous, because their farm, they were eating good, they were not doing well, so they went and shot one of my uncles and killed him. I remember when I was a little boy, I was told about that. I suffered too. So, but with that said, I have to be realistic because I'm a Muslim. I have to be realistic about that. It happened in the past, but that doesn't mean I forget. I know what's happened, and when I see this type of stuff, my brother, sister, I say, when are people going to wake up inside the United States? When are they going to wake up? Now, I'm going to another thing. The effect of white racism and the continued miseducation of the black man in his religious belief. White racism has a big effect upon your religious beliefs there, my brothers and sisters who are Christians. Your sister Christians, that's what you are. It is. Their racism is not driving you away from their religion, it's putting you closer to it. That's what's so funny and so crooked about this. Their white racism inside their churches, and the way they do it miseducates you. You should, naturally, if you got somebody slapping you, you got somebody hitting you across the face, he hitting you in the back, he's shooting you, he's doing things, you will gravitate from him and his ways and means. But their way, they've done it, you keep going closer to him. When the brothers like me get up there and say, hey, Yahya, why are you going to go to your wife just had a baby? Yeah. What you going to name him? Oh, hey, yeah, I'm going to name him George. After the Toubab. So you keep going closer to him. He don't want you, but he laugh at you. He think of you as a monkey, a trained monkey. You do as you told. He tells you something, you do it. This is what our black folks are saying in this. This is what we're doing inside the United States. This miseducation is wrong, my brother says. I'm talking hard today, but I have to. I got to wake you up. Let you think about it. Yes, you get mad at me. You can call me any name you want to. No problem. But what names you going to call these racist Toubab who's doing this? But you will leave them alone, won't you? You won't talk against them. You'll come talk against me, but you won't talk against these Toubab and these Klan people here. No, you won't say nothing. But you come against me. This miseducation, self-hatred is what this is. But these people here, they know that. They know that you won't touch them. You won't talk against them. You won't get on YouTube and talk against them. But you'll get on YouTube and talk against me and other black folk. We're in a sorry state, my brothers and sisters. We're in a serious sorry state. Now, this miseducation among black folk and their diehard belief in Toubab religion is a detriment to their health, their mental and psychological well-being. Brothers and sisters, I just got to give you an aspect of that. This miseducation and what they have, this whammy they put on you, this devilish spell they put on you, cause you to be a diehard for their concepts, and is detriment to your mental health and psychological well-being. Remember, I gave you a story last week. Remember about the two brothers came out of I can't remember what part of South Central they came out of, and it seemed like to me they were rolling 60 Crips, if I'm not mistaken. I'm trying to remember because it was many years ago. They decided they didn't want to kill anybody in the neighborhood anymore. They wanted to go find the black folk who were living outside near white areas and white areas. They wanted to look somebody, a black man, and they found one coming out of the mall there and he shot and killed him. This is near Christmas. This is what we're talking about here. The miseducation, their diehard belief in Toubab religion, even though these thugs may not be quote unquote, they may not say, but they say that they're Christians because that's all they know. But their mental health and psychological well-being has been disaffected. And it has been. When you can leave and you are rolling 60s gangster and you go from the South Central, you go 30 miles up the road, okay, down south to go to a white area to find a black man to kill. What kind of misguidance is that? That's a self-hatred. There's a mental and psychological defect there, my brothers and sisters. Okay. Most Toubab churches don't want black folk in them. Why? Let's look at this. Think about this. Most Toubab churches do not want black folk in them. Why? Toubab has fear. My brothers and sisters, they have fear. Here's some of it. Because of lawsuits arising from their racism, black folk have been trying to infiltrate these white-only churches and so forth and so on. Things happen. When the black folk go inside there, many of the men are single. Okay, and they go there to worship with the white folk inside their churches. We know the story was going on with many of the white females. We know what's happening to Toubab girls. They see the black man. We know what's happening with that. I don't have to tell you about all that. We know the sexual politics behind that. It's going back all the way back to slavery. Things happen inside the church between this brother and a couple of white females. Or the brother's son begins to date some of the girls inside this white-only church, okay? These are the things give the rise fear. Because of lawsuits arise from their racism. When they begin to discriminate and do things, black folk begin to sue in courts. They don't want that. Secondly, miscegenation. That's the old term, meaning the sexual relationship between a black and a white, meaning mostly black men, because it's codified that they say the white man can't marry a black woman. Many years is the way it was, but they didn't need that. They had to run in the mill, and we call them the night riders. They would go into a black township and they had their women who they wanted. They'll pick up a woman off the street and have sex with her. She's black, but black men cannot go roving in white areas and do it because they lynch you. We know that and castrate you, but they did it. But these churches, even today, are afraid of miscegenation between black folk and white folk, especially the younger generation are more tolerant, especially the white females, the Toubab females, the young girls. We know that we see them on TV. They're more tolerant, and they see this young, handsome brother, our sons, and we're in church, they get to look at each other. And then things happen. The churches don't want us there because they want to protect their daughters, so to speak, okay, from marriage and so forth, or pregnancy or so forth and so on, from a black man. They don't want that. Third, they're made to feel uncomfortable to the point they must put on a facade in order to prevent losing their tax-exempt status. This is the Toubab churches. You understand that? If they go to wholesale discrimination, they have tax-exempt status. When they start to show discrimination and so forth, in fact, they can lose that. And the churches can fall. And some of these churches had fall from blatant racism and they got spanked by the court, okay? And then the church just fell because by the time they paid fines and all this type of stuff like that, they lost their status. They were gone. That's why you notice inside the United States today, even black churches, they're falling by the wayside, my brothers and sisters. Many churches are going down the river. I mean, especially the black churches, they're going down the river. They're closing their doors. Number 4, Eurocentric Christianity is theirs. They don't want to share with the black man and family. They want you to follow it, but they don't want to share it with you because they don't have to do too much work. You're already doing everything for them. They go in your house, they laugh. They see you with this white Jesus Christ. You see, they put that and they see this and they say, okay, I don't have to do too much. Hey, they're doing exactly what we want them to do. So the Toubab churches don't want black folk in them. For why? And because they're uncomfortable with you there. They have to put on a facade. They got to smile. They can't call you nigger inside there. They have to be very, very polite. They don't want that. They want to be able to come to church and see white faces so that way they don't have to put on this facade. But when they see black folk, they have to smile in your face, come shake your hand and talk about welcome, how you doing? When in fact, they don't welcome you. They hate you. But because of their tax exempt status, they have to be very careful in what they do. These churches contend that racism is right and morally accepted. That's right. They believe that racism truly is morally accepted. Most Toubab believe this in private, but not in the public. Now, again, in their churches and out on the thing, they'll tell you, yeah, we have white-only church, but we're not really racist. But those who work in the closet, they are racist. In private, they have their little things. As my dad used to tell me, he gave me good guidance. He said, look, when the Toubab who breaks away from them come to you and start talking about these people over here are racist, you should listen to them because he was in the inner circle. They talk among themselves and they use these type of language against us. And so you should listen to that. So this is some of the things that the church, these Toubab churches are doing. My brother, sister, I talked today a little bit about this. I have another show, Islamic program, coming on here in another 2 hours or so, and another 2 hours or so. I wanted to share this with you today, and to chastise my brothers and sister Christians about the latest events, about the churches that you follow and the religion that you follow. I wanted to highlight this because I wanted you to think about this and what's going on in front of you, because my brothers and sisters, this is your miseducation is continuing and it's getting more and more acute, and these Toubab are getting so bold with it. They even had to interview in Al Jazeera to propagate what they believe. It's incredible. And I bet you we only have a handful of African Americans that actually talk against this. You'll go follow behind what they're saying, and you won't do nothing against them. You will continue to follow what they perpetrate. So, my brothers and sisters, thank you, my sister Amina, my brother Kenyatta. Thank you for showing up, and those in the future. This came, like I say, suddenly. I decided to do it, I wanted to talk about this because I feel passionate about that. I want to wake you up. I hope what I've said to you will slap you in the face and get you to think about your religious belief system, my brothers and sisters there in America, and even in the West Indies, and even in Africa too. We have misguidance in many of the black churches. We have serious misguidance like this, serious misguidance. I mean, it's really a shame that after all of these centuries, we're still following behind them. We have to stop this. We have to stop this. We're not talking about advocating racism, reverse discrimination. No. We're not advocating killing Toubabs. No. We're not advocating legislating against the Toubab. No. The black man, universally, he's universal. He is more accepting of other people than all the other races are. This is our makeup. Subhanahu wa ta'ala made us kind of like this, to be this way. We're very forgiving. But it's to a fault, my brothers and sisters. Now we're outside of our nature. We have allowed a race of people to govern us. to mislead us and miseducate us. And this miseducation continues. And we have to do something to stop this. We must do that, my brothers and sisters. You must do this. You must re-educate yourself and think about your belief system. And I'm telling you right now, the African Americans have left the Christianity, Eurocentric Christian, and came to Islam, which are coming in droves now. They found this freedom. Now, I'm not saying Islam is perfect. Islam is perfect. The people who practice it are not. And we know we have, we have people inside the United States who are Arab and Asians who discriminate. But those people, you don't use them as a guide, because many of them don't even practice the religion well. They are outside of the religion. But my brothers and sisters, I gave you some of these little tidbits here today. Please look at those things. I'll revisit what I'm trying to say. Look at me, drop me a line if you agree or disagree. Let me know. Even if you take this in private, you may be angry. You think about what I've said, and you go from there and you say, okay, you know what? Yeah, I think you're right. I'm going to have to look at my belief system, and I got to think about what I am. Salam alaikum, my dear brother Abodi. And I'm hoping that you will learn to be free, my brothers and sisters, because you are not inside the United States who worship this nonsense. You're not free. You continue to be a slave. So please look at that. Please listen to what I have to say. Do your research and go from there. Stop following the Eurocentric Christianity. It's a road not to heaven, but to the fire. Please look at that. You go back to your own scriptures that you said you follow. Go back to the Old Testament and start to read there. Follow the Torah, and you cannot go wrong if you are applying to this type of belief. And if need be, come and talk to the Muslims. You see, you have to ask questions. Why the brothers in jail come out Muslim? They're coming out like Muslims in droves. Even though you got Christian pastors coming there all the time. You got black pastors coming there and bishops coming there all the time. They can't get a handful, but the Muslims are getting hundreds at a time to come to Islam out of the jails. I'm talking about hardcore gangsters, okay, and drug dealers and so forth and so on. They're coming out as Muslims, and they come out clean, and they stay Muslim, but not with the church. They know this misguidance is part of why they had this mix-up in their head. So my brothers and sisters, about 2 hours from now, I have another program that's for the Muslims, and anybody's invited, non-Muslims alike. I'll be talking about the people of the Quran today, inshallah ta'ala, and this will be geared to my Islamic brothers and sisters, but also to the non-Muslims. You are welcome to come, and if you want to learn some of the aspects of Islam, I'll give this in about two and a half hours or so. So anyway, my brothers and sisters, Sister Bina, my brother King Kenyada, and my brother always Abodi, you guys, thank you for showing up today. And my brothers and sisters who will show up in the future. And I'll leave you with the beautiful words of Jannah. Salamu alaikum, rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.